Hey, everybody on video. Thanks for joining us. We got a good show. Robb Dunewood's here.
Hey, folks.
For real. See, I wasn't kidding. You're really here. All right, here we go.
Daily Tech News Show is brought to you by me. Oh, thanks, me. If you also wish to bring it, go to patreon.com/acedetect. That's patreon.com/ACEDTECT.
This is the Daily Tech News for Thursday, September 17th, 2015. I'm Tom Merritt. Joining me today, Mr. Robb Dunewood, self-described, and I only say that for accuracy, not to contest the validity of it, self-described best-looking co-host of the SMR podcast. How's it going, Robb?
Not too bad. How you doing today, Tom?
Good, man. Thanks for joining us. We've had Chris on the show from the SMR podcast, so we're slowly collecting all of the hosts. It's good of you to join us.
Maybe we can get our third wheel on the show. He travels so daggone much. We never know where he is.
We got to catch him, huh?
I talk to him when he's in airports and on trains.
He's like a Pokemon. You just got to keep looking, and eventually you'll catch him. We're going to talk a little bit about the future of Google Glass today, but let's start off with the headlines. Amazon unleashed a wave of new products, tablets, and TV streaming devices today without making us sit through 3 hours of announcements. Thank you, Amazon. First, the tablets. The Fire HD8 and HD10 are 8 and 10-inch tablets, as you might expect, with 8 and 16 gigabyte of storage, respectively. And that's right. The 8 only gives you 8. The 10-inch tablet only gives you 16 gigabytes, but they both have micro SD slots that take up to 128 gigabyte cards. The HD8 comes in multiple colored backs as well. It's $150. The HD10 is $230. A new feature called On Deck is interesting. It downloads movies and shows automatically for you, just in case you forget to download stuff before you say get on an airplane and you don't have internet anymore. The new Amazon Fire is another tablet that's $50. That's just basically the cheapest tablet they've got. And they're doing a 6-pack. You buy 5, you get 1 free. There's also a $99 kids edition of that. It's the Amazon Fire with a kid-friendly case and a 2-year no-worry guarantee for exchanges. Doesn't matter why it got broke, you can exchange it within 2 years. On the TV side, the $40 Fire TV stick can now be gotten with voice control. You just got to pay $50 for it to get that voice control remote. A new Fire TV has a claimed 75% more powerful CPU and a GPU that's supposedly twice as fast as the old model. This isn't the stick. This is the box now that I'm talking about. Also helps users find 4K content if it detects that it's connected to a 4K TV. It's $100, a little more pricey. And a bundle was introduced called the Amazon TV Gaming Edition, which is essentially that 4K Fire TV with a game controller, a 32 gigabyte micro SD card, and 2 free games for $140. All of this is available for pre-order on Amazon today and shipping in October. Robb, any of these, none of these, all of these strike your fancy?
I'm just going to be honest with you. The 6-pack of $50 tablets, I love Amazon because they consistently cut down my Christmas shopping. So for me, I've got 9 nieces and nephews. I know what they're getting.
Yeah, well, at least 6 of them, right?
I know what they're getting. So
yeah, I was tempted by that too. Same exact thing. I was like, I guess I could get that and just cover a bunch of my gift list, right? With a bunch of $50 tablets. Now, are the nieces and nephews young enough that you might be tempted to get the kids edition instead?
The ones that are young enough for that actually already have those. So there are a couple that are like in that 13 to 16-year-old range that they're probably safe, that they don't need to have the child protective case.
They're already covered.
But I'll look at this. I think what Amazon is trying to do is they're trying to just bake in lifelong members of Amazon Prime. Because once you have this, it's like my daughter just went off to college. She will never not use Netflix. She'll always have it. So I think that they're just trying to get folks as early as they can in the Amazon Prime so that they will just buy stuff from them forever.
Well, and that Amazon Prime feature that lets you download movies from your Amazon Prime subscription now makes a lot of sense with this On Deck feature. It's kind of like what TiVo does where it just records things it thinks you might want to watch and keeps them on the hard drive. And then if it needs to make space, it'll delete them. And the same thing with On Deck. If you need to make space to download something, it'll get rid of the On Deck stuff. But it's just extra options for you there. I was intrigued by that. Were you?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, they're trying to keep you in that ecosystem, and this will do it. You know, I know there have been many a times when I've gotten on a plane or a train where my Wi-Fi was just kind of shoddy, and you didn't want to get the plane Wi-Fi. You didn't want to watch what they want. I want to watch what I want to watch because I'm on a 5-hour flight going to LA or something like that from the East Coast. So this just makes sense when I don't have to think about it. It just kind of gauges. It knows me, knows what I do when I'm away. It's a pretty cool feature.
Yeah, that's the key. If it's smart enough to know Tom's been watching The Shield, let's download a couple of the next episodes we know he hasn't watched yet. That could prove amazing if you realize, oh my gosh, they're already there. I can watch them.
Right.
That's pretty cool. U.S. Appeals Court for the Federal Circuit in Washington, D.C. has ruled an injunction requested by Apple against Samsung should have been awarded, this according to Reuters. In May 2014, Apple was denied an injunction against Samsung for violating Apple patents covering iPhone's slide to unlock, autocorrect, and data detection features. This is the one where the jury awarded Apple $120 million. The appeals court said that Samsung can remove patented features without recalling products, and therefore there's no reason not to award the injunction. Case has been sent back to a lower federal court in San Jose, California, to reconsider that injunction. Business Insider's Jillian D'Onofrio did some legwork on LinkedIn and found a Google division called Project Ara, A-U-R-A, has been hiring people away from Amazon Lab 126. Lab 126 is where the Fire tablets come out of, where Amazon Echoes come out of. The employees in question described Project Ara as Google Glass and beyond. And a source told D'Onofrio that Project Ara remains a part of Google and is headed up by fashion industry vet Ivy Ross, who's been in charge of Google Glass for a while, although Nest CEO Tony Fadell still has high-level oversight. Google Glass is currently sold as an enterprise product to business. And Rob and I are going to talk a little bit about what we think any of this means and some of the silliness of Google project names, among other things.
They haven't discovered the other 25 letters of the alphabet, I guess.
Yeah. Well, they just got them, right? It takes some time to get them. Ninja Steve sent us the news that Apple will ask the U.S. Supreme Court to overturn a finding that it is considered to have fixed prices of its ebooks back in 2010. Fortune reports that the company filed a motion for a 30-day extension of the deadline to file a formal petition. And in that extension, Apple writes, "This case presents issues of surpassing importance to the United States economy." It does. The price of books. A lot of people buy books. In June of this year, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Second Court upheld the U.S. District Judge Denise Cote of Manhattan's July 2013 finding that Apple had orchestrated a horizontal price-fixing conspiracy among the 5 major publishers who signed up with them. Apple has agreed to pay $405 million to settle if it loses the Supreme Court case or if the Supreme Court denies review. Apple can file this appeal, obviously. The Supreme Court can say, we're not going to hear it, and then the lower court decision stands. This is the one that's all about who gets to set the price of the ebooks, Rob. Should it be the publishers, like they have with bookstores from time immemorial, where they just print it right on the book, or should it be the seller, like Amazon wants, where they can give deep discounts? Obviously, we as consumers like it when we get deep discounts, but authors want to make money, right?
Yeah, it's on two sides of this. As a consumer, I want it to be as inexpensive as possible. As a content creator, I want to charge you fairly for what I've created. So I see both sides of this, and although this is probably not going to benefit the consumers as much, I think that if you write a book, you should be able to charge what you want to charge for that book.
And if you're an independent, you can do that. Like when I write my books and I put my little novellas out there, I pick what I'm going to charge, right? Amazon doesn't tell me what I'm going to charge. Mm-hmm. And that's what the publishers want. But that is less responsive to the demands of the marketplace when you've got 5 major publishers sort of working in concert. And that's what the court found. It was that everybody was kind of working together, which decreased the motivation to adjust prices to the demands of the market.
Exactly.
Yeah. iRobot's got a new Roomba, the 980, that supposedly better handles clutter and furniture and keeps working until it hasn't missed a spot. The 980 uses a low-res camera, very low res, so don't worry about this thing spying on you yet. Low res camera and something called visual simultaneous localization and mapping, aka VSLAM. A lot of military robots use VSLAM. This helps it keep track of where it's been. It works for up to 2 hours. And if it hasn't mapped the whole house at that point, if it's still got spots that it knows like they exist but haven't got over there to vacuum it yet, it heads back to its wall wart, recharges for about 90 minutes, and then goes back to work until it's done. 980 is available today for $899. I'm all in until that price, man.
Yeah, the price is it's steep. It's like that. That's a lot of really good vacuum cleaners.
Yeah.
I mean, you could get some really top shelf stuff, 2 or 3 of them for that price. And I mean, this is such a such a first world problem. It's like, do I want a robot to vacuum my floor for me? So
the robot vacuuming my floor isn't good enough. Yes, totally. And we had the first generation Roomba. My wife and I, we got it as a wedding present. It was not good. It just couldn't get all the pet hair at the time, and it really, the algorithm needed work. So it's improved a lot since then.
I never thought that it would work for actual vacuuming, but I think a little over a year ago, we went to all wood floors, on my first floor in the house. So we just have to constantly dust. And I was thinking maybe this would be good for that, just going back and just getting the dust up off the floor. But once again, I'm getting hit by that. I'm not paying $900. I got kids. I'm not paying that kind of money for a vacuum cleaner.
Just for dust. When you're going to still have to go vacuum again?
You're still going to have to do it again. Yeah. So I don't know about that.
But really, you watched this video, and I got excited because it does all the things that I complained about the first Roomba not doing, which is it goes up to chairs and gets the edges. It goes up on rugs. Now, the rugs look fairly shallow, but still, it can go from hardwood to rug and then back off again. And it does what it promised to do with that original algorithm by actually tracking and mapping your house. So I'm really tempted. If this price starts to come down, $299, I'd probably consider it.
If we get into just high-end vacuum cleaner range, then it's at least a conversation.
Yeah. If it's and something where I don't have to feel like I have to go vacuum again regularly. Wired UK reports that security firm AVG has changed its privacy policy to allow it to sell non-personal search and browser history to advertisers in order to make money from its free antivirus software. Now, AVG says it had that ability already in its previous privacy policy, but the transparent wording wasn't there. So they've really just made it clearer, is what they say. Users can turn off the data collection with no loss of functionality, but it's an opt-out situation. That annoys a lot of people. New policy comes into effect October 15th. A lot of folks are up in arms. They're saying, AVG is going to sell our data. That's awful. They shouldn't do that. It's an antivirus company. And to be clear, AVG says we haven't sold anyone's data. We don't have any immediate plans to do so. We let you opt out, and we're very clear that we try to anonymize it as much as possible. But even that isn't enough for some people.
Turn it off.
Yeah.
You have the option to turn it off.
Or use something else.
If you were paying for AVG, if you were paying for their paid version and this is on, then maybe I have a problem with it. But you're using their really good free software, and they've got to monetize it some way. I mean, they've got to make a buck. If they're not making money, then they're not going to be able to put out really good antivirus software. So I just say if you don't like this, you absolutely have the opportunity to turn it off.
I get the people who've used AVG for years have championed it as, as somebody protecting your security, getting upset just at the principle that the security company is collecting information, even if it is supposedly non-personal. I get that, but I agree with you. If you want to use AVG, either stop using it or turn it off. The Verge reports that Apple's switch from Android to iOS, which also shows up as Move to iOS, it's an app, has arrived to help Android users migrate data to iOS devices. The app creates a private Wi-Fi network transfer for your contacts, your calendars, your email accounts, your message history, and your camera roll. Nice, elegant way to do it. The app has also been greeted with a number of one-star reviews from presumably Android fans.
You kind of have to expect that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no one is going to change. If I'm an Android guy, but I try to be fair in my assessment of other things. And I haven't tried this yet, so I can't say. But when I saw it, it's hard to get a 1-star review on anything. So I was just thinking, I wonder if you have a whole bunch of Android fanboys that are going out there and they're just giving it the worst review possible.
It does
And
seem like that. I can't imagine this
exactly
many people have suddenly switched from Android to iOS today. Because even if it was 1-star, that's a good news for Apple if that many people are actually switching.
right.
Lyft and Didi Quadi, China's largest ride-hailing service, are teaming up. Both companies are going to link their apps so you can use either service no matter which app you have installed. In addition, Didi will invest $100 million in Lyft. Didi is available in more than 360 Chinese cities, and Lyft operates in about 65 U.S. cities. So if I have a Lyft app that I use here in L.A. and I travel to Beijing, I can just use my Lyft app and hail a Didi Quadi ride.
That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah. Great way for both companies to expose themselves to new markets, too.
Absolutely.
And as Uber has shown, the other way of doing it by trying to just roll out your service and then ask for forgiveness when you get arrested in Paris has its pitfalls.
I have not, I'm in the Midwest. So I've only had the opportunity to use, these ride sharing, or not ride sharing, but these Uber, Lyft type. I've only used it twice, and it was great. It was cheaper than if I would have just got a cab, and I didn't have to wait because I was kind of out in the middle of nowhere, and I didn't have to wait. I mean, it was just someone who was near was able to get to me in probably 10 minutes. So I can't talk a lot on them, but it does seem pretty cool. I know that a lot of cab drivers, though, they are getting really, really upset. There's a lot of people who just, they're saying it's wrecking their livelihood, their businesses. I know that in New York, folks who have had medallions in their family for years, are really adversely affected by this. So I just personally haven't had the opportunity to use it, but the couple times that I have, it was really cool.
And what Lyft is doing and what Didi Quadi do is go in and say, let's go in gently, get regulatory approval, do it by the book. And I think Uber has caused those bad feelings among the medallion owners to be even worse by just kind of flouting those rules and being a little arrogant. F-Secure released a report today taking an in-depth look at malware organization referred to as the Dukes. That's what F-Secure calls them. It's not what they call themselves. This malware organization has been in operation since 2008. It's a methodical developer of zero-day attacks, which F-Secure describes as, quote, well-resourced, highly dedicated, and organized as a cyber espionage group. The group targets governments as well as Russian criminal groups in particular. F-Secure believes the main benefactor of the group's work is a government. Targets have often aligned with the Russian government interest, but there is no solid connection between the Dukes and any particular government or governmental institution. Fascinating read over there at Ars Technica if you haven't taken a look at it yet.
You know what? For every company has to be concerned about this, but I mean, the hackers are always a step ahead, and it's just amazing what they are able to get their hands on. How easily they're able to get inside of a networks, and we used to think of, oh, they're going to get my credit card number, they're going to get something from an individual, which they definitely do, but they're going after companies and they're going after countries now.
Yeah.
I mean,
countries are going after each other,
Yeah.
And the thing about the Dukes is you don't know if this is like a government funding an organization, a government contracting an existing malware group, or just a bunch of people who I know what our government wants us to do. They don't need to tell us. We're just going to be patriots and go do it. I mean, who knows?
Right.
BizTech Africa posted about a PwC report called Entertainment and Media Outlook 2015 through 2019, South Africa, Nigeria, and Kenya. And among their forecasts, they say South Africa's entertainment and media industry is going to grow 9.4% annually between now and 2019, fueled by digital spending. And most of that spending will come on the internet, followed by video games. Nigeria's entertainment market is supposed to grow from $4 billion in 2014 to $8.1 billion in 2019. Internet's going to be the main driver there, followed by television. Video games, however, will see the sharpest growth in Nigeria. And Kenya's market will go from $1.8 billion in 2014 to an estimated $3.3 billion in 2019, led by internet and TV. So everybody who's been looking at Asia as the boom market is starting to look at Africa now as we see these growth projections.
So I actually have an aunt who's she's been living in South Africa, Kenya, and Nigeria. Those three countries.
She's been living in all. She's lived in all three.
She's lived in all three.
Oh wow! This report is about her.
She's been in Africa probably for 35 years now. And when she comes back to the States, we always talk about this. She says that how quickly things are changing just because it's so much easier to throw up a cell phone tower than it is to wire a country that has millions and millions of people in it, and it's fairly rural outside of the big cities. So this absolutely makes sense. In fact, I'd lean towards they might actually be lowballing the numbers. Mobile is just blowing up on the the entire continent. Clearly in the southern portions of the country, it is just blowing up there. So they may actually have these numbers lowballed a little bit because everyone is getting a cell phone and everyone is watching media via their cell phone, via tablets, so on and so forth. So this is there's definitely opportunities to be had on the continent of Africa.
Yeah, they've leapfrogged right into mobile. Like you said, because it's easier and cheaper to put up a cell tower, and it's easier and cheaper to buy a phone than a big old desktop computer, for sure.
Exactly.
Finally, Verizon announced Thursday it will offer roaming to customers visiting Cuba. The plan will charge $3 a minute for voice and $2.05 per megabyte for data. So you're not going to be using a lot of data.
Who's going to use this at all? I mean,
somebody at the embassy, I guess. The U.S. embassy is now open. Verizon wants to provide service for embassy personnel.
That's steep right there. That's
yeah.
a lot of money.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't know. Well, and the thing is, this is Verizon wanting to say, hey, we cover the most in the world. We're the world leader in world service for rich people, apparently, and so we've added Cuba. We're the first American company to add Cuba in our roaming service. They just want to yell first. It's the carrier coverage equivalent of posting first in a forum thread.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like he might do better just to tow some telephone line on your boat as you go to Cuba. This data is really expensive.
Can you imagine somebody just runs fiber all the way from the Keys?
Right. What is it, like 90 miles or so, 95 miles or so? So, yeah.
Thanks to everybody who submits stories on our subreddit. Several of these stories came right out of dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com. Get in there and vote, people. It helps us put the stories together, helps us make sure that we reflect different viewpoints. So go to dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com. And that's a look at the headlines. All right, Rob, let's talk about this Project Ara. Now, don't confuse it with Project Ara, A-R-A. Project Ara from Google is the modular phone developed by the Advanced Technologies and Projects Group, which is an Android division that is different than Google X. And Project Aura, A-U-R-A, came out of Google X, but is now part of the Advanced Technologies and Projects Group, but is not Project Ara about modular phones. Project Aura involves Google Glass and more. Not confusing at all, is it?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're getting every variation of the letter A words.
They own the alphabet. They're starting with A, apparently. Yeah.
Here, it's like Android, Ara, Aura.
All right, but let's talk about this. So one of the things that I get as a pet peeve of mine is when people say, "Oh, the troubled Google Glass," and Google Glass, which died earlier this year. Google Glass was an experimental program, first of all, and what they found is they could sell it to businesses, and they've continued to sell it to businesses, and so it has been an enterprise-level project. They handed it over to Tony Fadell, who is the CEO of Nest, which Google owns, and then they left Ivy Ross in charge of the team under Fadell. What it seems like has happened now is with the divestment of different companies within Google under the new Alphabet structure, Nest is probably going to become its own company. It's pretty much a lock. Fadell's going to run that company. And so I think what they're saying is we want to keep Glass inside the Android development team. And the question is why? Ivy Ross is a fashion vet, so this is obviously about wearables in general. But the other cool teams that are part of the Android research arm are doing things like where's my note on this? It's the project that actually lets you do gesture control. It's called Soli, and VR Cardboard is part of this advanced the Advanced Technologies and Projects group in Android. So that implies that maybe there might be some tie between Google Glass derivatives, wearables, VR, which gesture control could be for both. It could be for watches. It could be for VR. What do you make of this?
I think it's an absolute lock that it's going to be. I mean, I was watching that video, and the fine control that this is able to pick up. I mean, you know, actually squeezing your finger, being able to pick up the pressure that you're squeezing your finger at and moving it around. I mean, that is some really, really cool tech right there. So as you know, VR, you know, we've been talking about VR since I was a little kid. But eventually it will be here. It'll be how we interface with things. And this is just probably, in my opinion, a precursor of what you're going to see. I don't know if it's 5 years from now or 10 years from now, but VR is going to be here. The things you saw in the Minority Report, that is going to be a reality in our lifetime. You know, probably relatively soon within our lifetimes. So this is really cool to me. I did not have a Google Glass, but not because I didn't want one. It was just difficult to get. So for me, this is something that is really cool. And when you start to look at what they're able to do with using cameras to figure out what you're doing with your fingers, so what really got me was that they could tell the pressure that you're applying between your thumb and your forefinger. That is some impressive tech to me. You're going to be able to do some really, really cool things.
It feels like you're talking about Project Soli, and it feels like that is the glue that binds together this continuum where I can see a lot of what they learned from Google Glass goes into wearables. And then you combine that with gesture control like Soli, and you can do all kinds of cool things on wearables, whether they're on your wrist or whether they're elsewhere. And then that's where you have a fashion industry vet in there helping you figure out the different parts of the body you can adorn besides the eyes and the wrist. Project Soli also obviously great for VR. If I've got a VR helmet on and I can do gesture control, that's going to help a lot. VR obviously can borrow some learning from Google Glass because of the way it interacted with our vision and our interactions there. So, I mean, VR is sort of a wearable version of the desktop, right? You wear it, but you pretty much wear it in one place, and then you've got wearables that you can take out in the world. It almost needs a new category name, and I wonder if Google has a category name for it. That's this line of stuff. Yeah, it'll probably be Project Ara with an O. I don't know. But yeah, I'm fascinated with what they're doing. Now, I don't know how much we can tell from the hirings. Here's who they've hired from Amazon Lab 126. And again, Jillian D'Onofrio from Business Insider did all the legwork here, looking at LinkedIn and finding out what people were saying. Dima Svetlov, who worked on Fire TV, is now the software development manager for Project Ara as of May. Amir Franke is the director of software development for Project Ara as of June. Tina Chen, who worked on the Amazon Echo and the Fire TV, is the manager of technical program management for Project Ara. They've also hired Max Ratner, who worked on the iPhone at Apple. They have a recruiter named Jessica Balo, who started working particularly on Project Ara in June and has posted openings now for a program manager for category development, industrial designer, and a UX designer, an interface designer. And then Adrian Wong, who was the lead electrical engineer on Google Glass and left to go work on Oculus, is now back at Google in June. Adrian's the only one who doesn't reference Project Ara directly in the LinkedIn profile, but says, building blocks for Alphabet/Google, G is for gadgets, glasses, and goggles. So it kind of implies working on that. The thread that struck me as I was reading this list is a lot of these people were involved with things like Echo, Fire TV, and iPhone that have voice control.
It's the next wave, and I'm reading through the story and I'm looking. It's like, this is really interesting. These are not just somebody who happened to work at Amazon or somebody who happened to work at Apple. I mean, these folks were leading design. I mean, they're definitely some heavyweights. So it just goes to show you that Google is not messing around when it comes to their projects. They really never have. And you can say a lot of things about Google, but they have always been about let's go do really cool stuff and just figure it out. They actually they don't necessarily have a business model or a business plan in mind. They just want to figure out how cool can we make stuff.
Yeah.
And we'll figure out what we do with it after we figure out how cool it is. So this is probably going to be, a big deal for Google going forward.
I have to say, all jokes about the name aside, and they probably won't do this, but Aura, A-U-R-A, as the name of a device that's a wearable that I can control with vision and maybe do some voice activation, kind of a cool name. That would definitely divorce it from the bad taste that people have from the name Google Glass.
Right. And it's funny how perception works. Google Glass had, it was really cool tech in there, but it just had such a bad connotation, folks using them in bars, talking to you while they're recording you, that kind of stuff. It's going to come back. It'll be a little nicer looking. It'll have a completely different name. And it will say, this is what you use this for. And people will absolutely go wild over it because like, oh, wow, that's really, really cool, as though they didn't hear about it a year and a half ago.
Yeah. And Google Glass will become the name for that frumpy thing you buy for your company. Because they're still selling those to businesses like hotcakes. Well, I don't know if they sell them like hotcakes. I don't know how well hotcakes do.
For what they do, they actually do it pretty well. I mean, it's we can clown the people walking down the street that are wearing them, and it's like look at that person right there. It's kind of like wearing a Bluetooth earpiece all the time, regardless of whether you're using it or not.
Yeah.
But the technology, the technology in Bluetooth earpieces is still pretty solid. The technology in Google Glass is absolutely pretty solid, and they're still working on it. They didn't kill it. That's the furthest thing from the truth. They actually are continuing to develop it and make it better.
Yeah, and when you're on a factory floor or construction site with people wearing hard hats and safety glasses anyway, Google Glass doesn't even stick out.
It just makes sense.
Yeah.
It just makes sense.
Our pick of the day comes from Ryan. His pick is the NVIDIA Shield TV. Says it works great with Kodi, used to be called XBMC. For $200, it's a great choice for the home theater PC user who just wants a quick way to set things up without spending hours configuring everything. Plus, it's a great bonus if you play games on a casual basis. You can even boot straight into Kodi without ever having to use Android's TV interface by using the XBMC launcher. We'll have a link to that in the show notes as well. I haven't tried the Shield TV yet, but a lot of people who use it sing its praises.
I haven't tried it either, but it sounds cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like, hey, that might be something to check out. There's so many of these things out there, so you start to lose. Is it this device? Is it that device? But they're all cool, and eventually it'll come out. It'll have its pluses, it'll have its minuses, and then the next company will they will liberate features and add it to theirs. So I'm just a fan of technology. Whenever you can take something, a little box, let me hook it up to my television and just let me watch it in different ways that I hadn't thought of before, that is a cool thing.
Send your picks to us, feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com, and you can find my picks at dailytechnewsshow.com/picks. Got several messages. I want to start with one from Marlon. Yesterday in our discussion of Ahmed Mohammed, the 14-year-old who took his digital clock to school and then caused a big controversy and ended up being hauled off in handcuffs. When we were talking about that yesterday, I made the offhand remark that teens can be obnoxious, and Marlon wrote in with some great points. He says, Marlon writes, he was a teenager who was dealing with just starting in a new school. It was widely reported that he started a few weeks prior, who was in the middle school's robotics team, and he was also exhibiting normal adolescent development tendencies. Early adolescence is characterized by a change in the brain's dopaminergic system, which contributes to adolescent sensation seeking and reward motivation, coupled with the cognitive changes where you also see improvement in metacognition. So we have a typical case of a new student meeting an engineering teacher who may have shown an interest in hearing that he was in a robotics team, and the student's normal response is to build something to impress that teacher and feel accepted. Marlon says, when I was at UNICEF, we were trying very hard to change policies that viewed adolescents as problems that needed to be fixed rather than as assets who we needed to provide opportunities for. Ahmed was treated as a problem that needed to be fixed. He did nothing wrong. The system overreacted and failed him.
I think this nails it.
Yeah, well done, Marlon, and thank you for, seeing a point that I missed. What did you think about all that, Rob?
It really, really bothered me. I'm like, this kid built a really cool clock, took it to school, showed it to his teacher that, as you said, showed interest in the fact that he was on a robotics team. And now he is in handcuffs in a police station, fingerprinted, because he built a clock. I understand that, the world that we live in, but you have to be careful with your overreactions, in what you're doing. I'm not going to, hide behind this. His name, in my opinion, probably has a lot to do with this.
Absolutely.
If his name was different, there may have been a completely different outcome, we probably would not be talking about it right now. So, yeah, this story really, it just personally offended me. It's like, wow, this kid, built a clock, and now he's fingerprinted, and he is in the system forever.
He, in his press conference, said that he's probably going to transfer because he's still suspended for 3 days. He's probably going to transfer to a different school, which I can't blame him at all. And he says, I want my clock back. The police still have it. If the case is closed, give me my clock back.
And it's like they're actually deciding whether or not they're going to file charges. And I'm like, file charges for what? Wanting to know what time it is? I mean, what is there to file charges about, and why is he suspended?
Yeah.
I do not understand that. It does not make sense to me.
Christian writes, another interesting repercussion of the rise of artificial intelligence could be a decreased reliance on apps. This is regard especially to voice assistants. Christian says, I can already get things like weather, movie times, news, and stock quotes through several different digital assistants, which means I'm not opening as many apps on a regular basis as I used to. And once digital assistants reach the next level of interactivity, there's no reason to assume we won't use them to make restaurant reservations, buy movie tickets, book travel, etc. It's just a matter of how long, right, Rob? Like, when are we going to just be talking to stuff?
I still don't like talking to my phone.
I'm with you. I'm with you 100%.
If I'm in the car by myself, I'll do it. But you've been able to use Google in the search and talk to it. I used it to test it. When it first came out, I have never gone back, and it just does not feel natural to me to actually talk to my computer or to talk to my phone. I will, like I said, I will use it for dictation, when I'm in the car, but that is really about the extent of it. So I don't know if I'm just the wrong demographic for this. I've been doing it, I was one of the first folks with a cell phone. I mean, I think I got my first cell phone like in 1989.
Wow.
In my senior year of high school, I actually had a bag phone, in my car. So I've been using a phone the same way for decades, and I'm just going to start talking to my phone, asking questions. I'm not dancing on the technology. It is really good. I just really think that for me personally, I'm just probably the wrong demographic for it. And it'll just have to become very, very commonplace to where the interface mechanism, you just talk to your phone, you ask it a question, and it's just very, very seamless. I think it's going to take, that level for me to get to where I'm commonly talking to my devices.
I think we're the old men where our grandchildren are going to be like, come on, Grandpa, just talk to it, okay? Stop trying to use an interface. They're like, no, I don't want to talk to my computer. We're talking about Facebook being able to put some kind of dislike button in there. We've had several people throwing out ideas. Andy from Michigan says, what about letting the person who makes the post choose what they want to show up? So you could have be the thing for spending the day with the kids at the beach. You could actually allow dislike if your post says broke my arm and having a bad day. Or you could do both if your post says what did you think of the 80s? People are smart enough to figure out what they want to get as reactions, especially if you let them change it if they make a mistake and accidentally choose the wrong one.
So on the surface, that sounds kind of cool, but we as people are so lazy. Unless it was a poll where I wanted to create a poll anyway because I needed the feedback, most people probably are just not going to go through the work of, I wrote my post, now I'm going to select some toggle boxes to allow you to determine how you feel about what I wrote. That's just probably not going to be commonplace for most folks. But once again, that could also be a demographic thing.
No, I think you're right. What'll happen is people will forget to select the extra things, and that wouldn't solve the problem. The problem is I, as a respondent, want to express a different emotion than like. And if you didn't anticipate that with your selection, then I'm still going to be frustrated. But I get what Andy is saying. It could be an elegant way of doing it, but I think Robb's right. We're just going to forget. It's not even about laziness. It's just people like, oh, I just want to post this real quick, and not wanting to go through the check boxes.
I mean, if you're one of those folks who just talks to your phone all the time,
yeah,
how do you talk through the myriad of options that you'd have to select?
The personal assistant will then tell you, would you like to make this a dislike post? Oh, yes, Siri, go ahead and do that. Regarding iOS app removal, we talked about Tim Cook dangling out the possibility that you could remove the default apps from iOS. Adam from Sunny Hoboken thinks that ability could be squarely targeted at the enterprise. We've talked about the difficulties iPad has in the enterprise because it doesn't have multiple accounts, for one thing. We have Adam saying, if I could strip an iPhone down to a few critical apps, that makes it far more secure and easy to manage.
I think that he's absolutely right, and I think that this is probably what Apple was thinking, with doing this. You almost have to. There are organizations, that they simply won't allow you to have an iPad because they can't control enough of the iPad to allow the iPad to meet their standards.
Yeah.
So this is just, in my opinion, Apple removing a bar to entry to getting into the enterprise.
Yeah,
which is,
I think you're right.
They really want to be there.
Well, folks, you want to be at smrpodcast.com because if you haven't figured it out, Robb Dunewood's one smart guy, and you should hear more of him and Chris and the whole gang over there. Check it out, smrpodcast.com. Go listen, subscribe. You got anything in particular to tell folks about coming up?
Nothing big coming up. For me, we're just recording our shows mostly every week. And for anybody who wants to get right at me, they can just hit me at my Twitter handle is just at bloggerpreneur, exactly like you think it would be spelled. That's pretty much it. Come check us out though. We have a different kind of tech show. Tom, I know you listened to it a couple of times. We go off on ridiculous tangents that our audience seems to like.
There was a bit about mortgages on the most recent one, for instance.
You never know what we're going to get when we talk about the show. We eventually will get to tech, but sometimes it might be 20 minutes in.
Yeah. No, it's good stuff, man. And it's the best podcasts are the ones where you just feel like you're hanging out with a bunch of friends talking, and you guys got that nailed.
Yeah, we all are really good friends. We all met. Well, I met Rod and Chris, the other two hosts, at work. But they have been. I mean, I think they met in kindergarten, so they've known each other for I don't know, 37 years.
Check it out, and thank you, folks, for making it possible for us to have a show to host Robb and everybody else on. DailyTechNewsShow.com/support is where you can go to show your support for the show. Lots of people get value out of the show. A big percentage of them give value back. If you're not one of those yet, consider becoming one. Patreon.com/Ace2Tech. You can give 5 cents a show. And if everyone did that, we'd be rolling. We'd be doing all kinds of crazy stuff. You can also just give through PayPal if that's a more comfortable thing for you, or go to our store, dailytechnewsshow.com/store. We have shirts, we have mugs, we have mouse pads, we have USB chargers. And you never know what you might find there. Go check it out. Our email address is feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. You can give us a call, 512-59-DAILY. That's 593-2459. Listen to the show live Monday through Friday, 4:30 p.m. Eastern on alphageekradio.com. And visit our website, dailytechnewsshow.com. Back tomorrow talking VR with Aaron Carson and Len Peralta illustrating the show. Talk to you then.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Get more at frogpants.com.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
Fantastic show, Robb. Thank you so much.
Hey, I appreciate you having me on. It was an absolute blast doing this.
Good. I'm glad.
I don't normally do video, so I had to you had to shave and put on the
Well, that's what like Veronica and all the female co-hosts I ever have always complain about having to do video because you have to do your face. So
I don't do no face. No face for me.
Yeah, me either.
I'm sorry.
I said my kid doesn't do her face.
Ellie doesn't do her face either.
Yeah, I'm usually recording down in my basement. It's the unfinished portion of it where I still have the insulation hanging down, off the walls. So it's a really really nice sound area.
Yeah.
So I was like, am I going to record down there? And it's like, wait a minute, I'm on video today. I might actually want to come up where there's some light and you can see my face and does it look like I'm in a bomb shelter?
Most people just listen on audio, but
yeah, and I'm really enjoying the fact that you're in the loading program for the Matrix right now.
Oh, am I really
Look at
pixelated
his-
right now?
No, look at his background.
oh, because of the
You're
white
white.
background, I see.
Oh.
You're just in the loading program
She
for the
thinks
Matrix.
you're learning kung fu right now.
Yeah, I know kung fu.
Yeah, I need that red chair that Morpheus sits down in.
Yeah,
Right, right.
it's so awesome. It just like got that way all of a sudden. I was like, that's cool.
Well, Rob, we don't want to take too much of your time. If you want to stick around and hang out while we do the post show, that's great. If not, don't feel bad off whenever you need to.
Well, I'm gonna allow my child to come in the house now. She's home from school and she's been hanging out across the street because I'm not in my normal spot. I'm in my kitchen doing the show.
Oh shoot. Okay, yeah.
It's been an absolute blast doing the showtime. Jenny, if you guys ever need someone to come in, just let me know.
Awesome.
We have got to get Rob
Ron.
Simmons.
I almost had him a little while back. I almost had him, and then there was like some scheduling problems, so I'll get back on that.
Yeah, he's like in his travel mode, and what we'll probably need to do is like wait until he actually decides I'm not traveling for a month, because he's on the road probably 3 days out of every week. So
All right.
But
You work on him from your end, and I'll work on him from my end.
no, really appreciate you guys having us on.
Yeah, no, thank you guys for coming on. You and Chris both have been fantastic, man. Knock me out. You guys are great.
So once again, anytime you need a special guest or something like that, feel free to ask. I'm more than happy to jump on, and I hope that sometime we're at the same event. Sit down and have a drink or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, man.
Okay, folks, you
All
guys
right.
take care.
Take care.
Bye. That was a great show.
Yeah, he was awesome.
Those are good guys.
I'm thinking to Google Glass and beyond
Yes, of course.
for the
Because
name.
why not?
Perfect.
Yeah.
To
Any
Google
kind of
Glass
Galaxy Quest.
and beyond. Also, Google Glass and beyond is a quote, right? So it's built in.
Yep.
It's pertinent to the main topic.
I'm so hungry. Okay, it says my delivery from Postmates is coming in 7 minutes. I tried to
What are you
do
getting?
Uber. I tried to do Uber Eats, and it was like too late, and they couldn't.
We did, okay, good and bad story about Uber Eats. We did
Okay.
Uber Eats this weekend because they had like breakfast tacos and a croissant breakfast sandwich. We're like, those look really good, and they'll probably hold up pretty well in those little heating packs. So we order it, comes really quick, 3 minutes. It comes. The guy was right around the corner. I get downstairs. He's got an orange juice. He's like, is this what you ordered? I'm like, that's one of the things I ordered. He's like, oh. He's like, I thought it was weird because this was the only thing that came across. So I sit there and I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, well, I didn't get, and I look, I'm like, well, I didn't get charged for it. Let me see if I can like put in the order again since you're right here. He's like, yeah, just, and then I kept getting an error in the app. And he's like, okay, hold on. So he calls somebody, and I hear him say, like, yeah, I've got what he wants right here. And then he gets off the phone, and I'm like, yeah, the app, I tried a few times. The app's still giving me an error. He's like, here, no charge. It's not your fault. And I was like, you're not going to have to eat the charge for this. He's like, don't worry about it. We'll take care of it on our end. It's all fine. And I was like, oh, man, that's awesome. So bad experience that the ordering just wouldn't work. But they totally did the right thing, and was like, look, you should not get what you wanted because of that.
I can see my little truck moving closer and closer. I got a sandwich, by the way, from All About the Bread.
So many jokes. That's all I can say. Are they? What kind of sandwich?
I think I got the Godfather.
Oh, does that have a lot of Italian meats on it? I assume.
Yes.
That
It's a
sounds really
ripoff
good.
of a. It's a ripoff of a very famous sandwich called the Godmother in Santa Monica, but they don't deliver whatchamacallit. It's just the place what I'm talking about that I can't remember the name of because I'm so hungry.
I might know the place.
You know the place. It's on Lincoln. It has the best sandwiches. It's a deli, Italian deli. If you
I'm
haven't
not a
been there,
sandwich. I'm not a sandwich person.
yeah, but these sandwiches are special. I forgot To Infinity and Beyond is Pixar, Toy Story, not Galaxy Quest.
Oh, you know what? I didn't even catch that either. I was thinking
swooshed my references.
Toy Story. I was picturing him, but I didn't catch that you said Galaxy Quest.
No,
You got well
I'm such a
actually.
fan.
Boom. Are you gonna get any Toy Story toys for Ellie?
I don't know yet. I could go down the Sarah route and kind of not do any licensed toys.
Oh, really?
Jennifer is a big Disney fan, so probably unlikely. So no, probably likely. We got the what's the little Star Wars droid? I should know it, and I don't know the name.
BB-8.
Yes. We got.
Oh, you got the remote control one?
Yeah.
Nice.
My Jen likes it more than she does. So.
Right, because she probably can't really control it yet, so it's not as fascinating.
And it's just two balls to her. Really.
Yeah, exactly. She probably likes knocking the head off, would be my guess.
Yeah, she'll be in her destructive phase soon. She's in the dropping everything now. Oh, let's see if you pick up. Will you pick this up? Will you pick this up? I'm going to teach you how to cook.
So many fascinating. She agrees. This is the song I sing while I'm putting tech news together.
Yeah, it's the I Am Evil Homer.
Well, what is the original song that he is parodying?
I don't know.
It's like a cha-cha or something. Bum, 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 bum.
Oh, yeah. I thought you said Cheech and Chong. I was like, no, I don't think it's a Cheech.
No. I don't think so.
Smoke. Ice or Nice Street. The ever popular Corsican Brothers. Corsican Brothers. You're too young to see that movie. Maybe when you're 50.
I don't think I've ever seen Corsican Brothers.
It's one of the
Ellie knows. Ellie knows.
One of the looter Cheech and Chong movies. Which is hard, which is saying a lot for Cheech and Chong.
Disney-funded startup helps podcasters grow social media audience.
I saw that.
I hope you're having an awesome day.
Don't make fun of people sending pitch emails. Someday we may have to do it. You never know.
I'm going to make fun of people sending pitch emails, and I don't care.
These days, Tom will wear a seersucker suit, maybe a straw hat, and give a folksy...
There's a person quoted in the first paragraph that once told me that my podcast just wasn't popular enough.
Oh, really?
So I don't know if I really believe that they'll help me get more traction.
That's interesting.
We'll go out soon enough.
I have deleted it. At least, you know what? I'll give this person huge points. It was a personally written email. There was a lot of boilerplate in it, but it definitely had elements of, I thought about writing this. The ones I hate are the ones where they like, Dear Veronica. And I'm like, you didn't even try. You just had a robot send that.
That makes a lot of sense to me. Wait, 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Well, once you get a bot down that can actually sort of write a somewhat humanistic sounding email, it's over.
Yeah. Gentlemen, I'll be right back. I'm going to go stand out in front of my house and just hand off from the Postmates.
So you're going to stand in the place where you live?
Yep.
You're just going to stand and deliver.
That's right. All of those things. I'll be right back.
Okay. I bet now she faces west.
The weirdest thing about that video, stand where you are, or stand where you are, is seeing Michael Stipe with hair.
Oh, yeah. That was probably the last hair album for him, huh?
Yeah, and his hair was long. It was like
Con Palo. Stand and deliver.
Was that their big breakout song? On pop radio?
I don't know.
I agree. I thought REM was put up at the turn of the century, but they didn't.
To Google Glass. I think that should be an M dash, not a 2-dot ellipse. I'm going to fix that. I'm going to fix that right now. Right now. It's going to be wrong in the ID3 tags, but that's just the way life works. Sorry, Ellie. I know you're our standards compliance officer.
You know, somewhere in the galaxy, I'm sure there's an alien race where this is perfectly intelligible language.
Sure.
Success.
Hooray! Sandwiches are here. I'm out of the post, and I'm killing the video.
Woo-hoo.
Show us your sandwich. That's
I'm
a
not ready
plastic
to.
bag.
I know. I need both hands to unwrap it.
All right. See you, everybody.